Good morning. Welcome to Saturday Morning Coffee. My name is Lance Mckinnon. I am here with my co-host Tiffany Linderman. Good morning, Tiffany. How are you doing this morning?
Hey, I'm good. How are you doing?
I am doing absolutely wonderful. I'm sitting back enjoying some coffee, Fifth Acres coffee from Good Brothers Cafe in Midtown Harrisburg. Give a shout out to them. If you want some good coffee, you got to check out Good Brothers Coffee in Midtown Harrisburg. It always gets me going. But
Good stuff.
it's just another Saturday. So is it just you and I today, or what do we got going on?
Well, as always, Lance, I come prepared, seriously. So
Yeah.
today, today we
You
have a,
didn't come prepared.
I absolutely do. I have like 2 cups of coffee here. I'm so prepared. I know they're not both SMC cups, but anyways, we have an outstanding guest. Okay. We have Kyle A. Greene, who is the greatest of all time.
The goat.
Hey.
The goat. We got the goat. We got the goat on. Do we got the goat? Yes. That is so awesome. Hey, good morning, Kyle, aka Goat. It's Saturday Morning Coffee. It's absolutely a privilege to have you joining us from South Carolina uh, to be on our show. We know you're a busy man, so we're just going to let you go ahead and dive into it and let you tell our followers and everybody out there what you're doing, how you're doing it, and how you are blowing it up, brother.
Well, I'm excited to be here. Saturday Morning Coffee, man. I'm super excited to be with y'all too, man. Y'all are absolutely amazing. And y'all kind of really parallel like what I'm doing in my life. So like you said, I am here in Columbia, South Carolina. It's the capital. Just a little bit about me. I'm gonna give you a scenic route. I'm not gonna take you on the interstate. I'm gonna take you through the curves. I want to give you the beautiful fall morning scenic route of who I am. So I was born in a small town. My mom was on drugs. I hated my mom when I was a kid because I could not understand for the life of me, how could you carry me for 9 months and not be there? So I really had gripes with my mom, and I hated my mom with everything that I had in me. My father was a decent man, but my father lived in the next town over. So you're familiar with South Carolina. So my father, for example, you familiar with Charleston. So my father lived in like um, Monk's Corner. Maybe he lived in like Somerville. So we wasn't in the same town. So my father was absent from the home. My mom was absent from the home. My grandmother raised me. My grandmother all she had was a middle school education, but my grandmother taught me so many profound life lessons. My grandmother would tell me, "Cow baby, in order to gain respect, you should first extend an olive branch and giving it." My grandmother would say, "Cow baby, anything worth having should at least be worth fighting for." She would say, "Cow," and they slap you on the right cheek, you turn to the left. My grandmother taught me those type valuable life lessons, and I did not know what it meant to me then, but I know what it meant to me now. So a lot of who I am is because of my grandmother. I had a daughter when I was 16 in the 10th grade. Yes, you heard that right. I was a kid having a kid. But my daughter taught me a very valuable lesson. She taught me that it doesn't matter what mistakes you make in your life. What matters is you know that you're not a mistake. And oftentimes we as adults, man, we think that just because we make a mistake and because we fail and because we take a loss in something, we see ourselves as a failure. We see ourselves as a mistake. But that's not necessarily true. Just because you make a mistake, it doesn't mean that you're a mistake. Just because you fail, it doesn't mean that you're a failure. Just because you took a loss, it doesn't mean that you're a loser. What's important about making mistakes and failing and taking losses is how you get yourself up and how you brush your shoulders off and how you live to fight another day. If y'all don't take nothing else from Sunday Morning Coffee, man, I want you to take this. Keep fighting every single day that you wake up. It's an African proverb that says every morning in Africa, a gazelle wakes up and it knows that it must outrun the fastest lion or it will be killed. On the other side of Africa, a lion wakes up and it knows that it must outrun the slowest gazelle or it will starve to death. So I don't care if you are the gazelle or you the lion on this morning, right? All I need for you to do is wake up every single day and to get running. So my mom was on drugs. My father wasn't in the home. I had a daughter when I was 16 in the 10th grade. I was raised by my elderly grandmother. I could not read until I got to middle school. I hid that from my teachers. I hid that from my family, that I couldn't read. And I would always be embarrassed. And anytime the teacher would ask me to get up and read, I would act out. I would have to go to the restroom because I wasn't feeling good. I would have to go see the nurse. So I came from all of that, right? But I said that to say this: you do not have to be defined by your past. You can always redefine who you are, and you can make a mark on this world. You can make a mark in the lives of other people. And that's what I do every single day that I wake up, every single opportunity that I'm gifted to speak in front of students, in front of educators, in front of corporate America. I get people to see their potential for greatness, because everybody has the potential to be great. Everybody's just not willing to reach deep down inside to tap into it. So my mentor was Reverend Senator Clemente Pinckney. He was murdered in his church in Charleston, South Carolina on June 17, 2015. I heard him speak at our high school. I saw him speak and I said, yo, I want to inspire people like Clemente. So when he was murdered, a part of me died too, because he saw something in me that I did not see within myself. He saw who I could become, and he never stopped pouring into me. So as a result, I always pour back into the lives of others. So I said I was going to take y'all on a scenic route. That was a scenic route on who I was. Let me land this plane and let me turn it back to the hands of these amazing hosts, and we can just jump right into a conversation.
So when you said your mentor was murdered, was that at Emmanuel?
Yeah, that was Mother Emanuel. He was the pastor of the church, Reverend Senator Clemente Pinckney. That was my mentor.
I've actually had the privilege to go there and worship on a Good Friday a couple of years back, and
Oh, wow.
it was extremely very emotional. And I love the clip that Steph Curry, the movie clip that Steph Curry had put together about Emmanuel and the story behind it. But I was able to pray with one of the deacons inside of the church as well too, and so that is very humbling, and it's going to be very powerful. And I know that it's moved me. And I had an uncle who had preached at this church as well too, AME, and it was absolutely amazing. And it was a very tragic day, but there was a lot of birth that came from that.
Yes. Yeah, and what's crazy now is, so I heard him speak at because we're from the same hometown. I went and spoke at this high school in Columbia, South Carolina called Dreer High School. And so every time before I speak, I always ask my audience to give me at least 9 seconds of a moment of silence. And those 9 seconds really commemorate Senator Pinckney and the other parishioners who lost their life in that tragic event. And so after I got finished speaking, and I saw somebody get up and walk out, right? And they kind of ran out and they had their hands in their face. Because when I'm speaking, I can pan the crowd. So after I got finished speaking, I had somebody inbox me on Instagram, and she said, hey, my name is Elena. She said, you don't know me, but my father was Reverend Senator Clemente Pinckney. She said, your speech was so moving. I've never heard anybody speak so well of my dad. She said, and I understood that he was your mentor. I said, yes, he was. And, well, would you mentor me? So life came back full in the story. For me, now I mentor his oldest daughter. Like, life is so amazing, man. I have an opportunity to now mentor the man who mentored me, who saw something in me. Now I see that same potential in his daughter life, and I kind of help pour into her as he poured into me. So I'm super excited to now serve as her mentor, kind of like what her dad did to me.
The reason you went into, oh, sorry, Lance. I was just going to say, the reason, do you know the moment that you decided this is what you wanted to do? Or do you think it was just life events that you'd gone through and your wonderful mentor that you had that brought you to this?
Yeah, so it was really like a culmination of events, right? Like, everything really had a compound effect. I can remember crying, and I would always ask God, like, God, man, why do I have to, like, why is my mom not here? Like God, you can't be real, because if so, man, my mom would be here, my dad would be here. I have friends who have their mothers and fathers, and my mom and my dad are not here, and I got to wear clothes with my cousins. I gotta do things like that. My grandmother's on a fixed income. Like why do I have to go through all of this? And it never made sense until I decided that I wanted to become a motivational speaker. And I spoke at the first school, and I had kids come up to me crying, and they said, "Yo, Mr. Kyle, man, if you made it, I can make it. Like my life, like I see my life through what you went through." And so I give kids hope. I'm the voice of the next generation. Like I did not understand why I had to go through all of that then, but it makes perfect sense to why I had to go through it now. Like I just got back from Passaic County Institute up in Wayne, New Jersey. And I had 6 speaking sessions, and it was 4,200 students at that school. So a school of 4,200 students, I was able to connect to, I don't know if I was able to connect to every single student, right? But the response and the messages of, man, somebody finally sees me, or like you gave me hope. Like I got a purpose in my life now. Like you made me realize that my life has purpose. It's kind of like a pastor, right? Like a pastor can preach one sermon and it can impact everybody in that church. Like one motivational speaker can speak to 4,200 students, and I can directly or indirectly impact every student by the life experiences that I've gone through. So it was kind of like a culmination of all of that, like going through what I went through, my mentor being murdered. When Trayvon Martin was murdered, I never visited Sanford, Florida. I never met Trayvon Martin. I held a rally here in Columbia, South Carolina. I called it the 1,000 Hoodie March. I did it in 2 days. The event went viral. 3,700 people showed up, and they all showed up because of a vision that I had. Anybody that's listening, anybody that's watching this, man, you can have a vision in your head, right? And once you speak that vision into the atmosphere, God then holds you accountable. Because originally I didn't have no intentions on really hosting a rally. I just said it on social media. And sometimes, man, when you speak something into the atmosphere, man, God will hold you accountable to it. In that moment, like that tragic moment really birthed out Kyle Speaks. So as a result of everything that I went through, a mom not being there, a mom on drugs, a dad not being there, grandmother who taught me so many life lessons, or having a daughter at 16 in the 10th grade, all of that had a compound effect into me becoming the motivational speaker that I am today. So hopefully that answers your question.
And you are a phenomenal motivational speaker. I mean, your following is absolutely huge.
Yeah.
But and one thing I always say, it's not where you start, it's where you finish. You know, I always go back to, I relate to, I'm going to say it, Mustang Nation, Penn Yan, New York. It took a village to get me
Yeah.
out, you know, and my roots are always and will be in Penn Yan, New York, Mustang Nation. You're not a product of your society. If you want to get out, you can get out. But iron sharpens iron. You got to believe in yourself, and you got to make that stride and try to attach yourself to somebody. You know, and I'm thankful for all the people that attached to me, that I attached to them. But you have to be willing to listen. You
Right.
know, and so as a mentor, you know, you can uh, try to talk to somebody and lead them, but they got to be willing to want it.
You're right. Absolutely right. And anybody that's listening, anybody that's watching, you said something that's really important. The people that you're attached to and the people that are attached to you. So until you find your purpose in life, until you find out like why God created you, because understand, like you're not just here by happenstance. You happen to be here for a reason. It was something that has to be accomplished here on earth, and it'll never get accomplished until you figure out your purpose. And the people that's connected to your life will never figure out their purpose until you figure out yours. So many times, like you unlocking your purpose helps unlock, it helps to give the key to somebody else to unlock theirs. So that's why it's so critically important that you find a mentor. You find somebody that's doing what you want to do, and maybe you might not be good at it, and they might just be a little bit better than you. Maybe they've had more failures than you, so they know what not to do. So find somebody who's doing what you want to do and connect yourself to them, even if you have to shadow them, even if you have to help them, even if they might be a motivational speaker and you got to go help them set up tables or set up chairs or break down a set. Like, show that you want to show them how serious you are, so then that they can pour into you, because now they see that you have some skin like in the game. So finding a mentor, listening to somebody who's already kind of got those war wounds can really help you fast track where you're trying to go and help you get to that next level in your life.
Absolutely. And so when you're speaking to these students, what are you talking about? What message are you laying to them?
So it really all depends, man. I have schools reach out to me all the time. Some schools, they want me to come in and talk about bullying. They want me to come in and they want me to talk about purpose. They want me to come in and talk to their student athletes about, make sacrifices and making commitments and taking advantage of opportunities and things like that. They want me to come in and talk about leadership. They want me to come give it a graduation speech. They want me to come speak for African American History Month. Like, schools kind of tell me what they want or what they need, and then I can craft the message around it. I go speak at educator events, and I go speak about the pour into effect and why it's important for educators to pour back into the lives of students. Because oftentimes educators, they get burnt out, they get tired, especially now with COVID. Educators they stretch thin. They ask to do some things that we've never asked our teachers and our educators to do. So sometimes principals and superintendents to bring me to come pour back into their staff, and then I motivate and encourage and challenge them. Like, I call it pour into effect, and why it's so important that you pour back into the lives of students. And I show them I am the byproduct of what you're pouring into looks like. And had it not been for the teachers that poured into my life, I am today. So I speak to school students about educators about pouring back into their lives. That's a $2 billion company team. I'm like, yo, what the heck? Y'all create like the lip balms and the lotion and stuff. But I spoke to them on growth mindset and why having a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset, because it kind of ties around my book, The Mentality Changer, a journey to help change how you want. Start about you. Like, you can't think of the next invention. You can't think of the next, perfect lip balm or the perfect lotion until you go from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. So like, I go in and speak on really what people like need, what needs need to be met within their organization, within their school. I talk about culture. So it's just a whole bunch of things that I can kind of talk around.
And I want to retract back because you said you didn't learn how to read until middle school, and
Yeah.
so you faked it till you made it.
Yeah. Well, no, I faked it until somebody found out and they told my dad. And then
and if he's from Monk's Corners, I know where Monk's Corners is. Yeah, I can
yeah.
understand. I can understand where you learned real quick.
Yeah, so my dad went in the home, but my dad was a good man. So once my dad found out that I couldn't read, my grandmother on my dad's side, his mom, she was an educator. She taught special education, and my grandfather was a principal. So I come from a family of educators. So one summer, like, my grandmother set me at the desk, and I'm sorry. So my grandmother set me at a desk, and she made me read the encyclopedia, like, all volumes. So I had to, like, she taught me how to break down the prefix, the suffix of the word. She taught me how to put words together. She taught me how to break words down. Like, my grandmother in one summer taught me how to read. And so today, man, I'm a self-published author. My first book, The Mentality Changer, a journey to help change how you want to start about you. The daughter that I had when I was 16, she graduated last year from Columbia College. She has a degree in business administration and a minor in leadership. Her and I, we co-authored a book together. It's called #Father-Daughter Goals, how a beautiful bond between a father and his daughter was formed by a simple promise. And the simple promise was this. I said, yo, God, man, if you like not have my family turn their backs on me, if my friends still look at me the same, if my teachers still pour into me, I said, I'll be the greatest dad that I could possibly ever be to my daughter and to any other kids that I have. So me and her wrote a book together. So, God has really like blessed me, man. Like, sometimes you never know what you have to go through to help people, to get them to go through what they are going through. And so God showed me through like my life journey, through my life story, why I had to go through what I went through, and it's to help free people who going through what they're going through now.
Yeah, that's again, we never understand the piece of the puzzle until it fits.
Right.
And when that, because it's like, why am I going through this? Why am I having this heartache? Why am I struggling? You know, and then when that piece of the puzzle fits, you go, oh, now it makes sense. You know, and I always say that the road to the top of the mountain is not the same for everybody.
Right.
It's windy, it's curvy, it's up, downs, a lot of downs, but there's a lot of ups, but you can never be discouraged. And you always say, if the good Lord wakes me up today, I got to get out there and hustle
That's
and be the best version that I can be. Even when I'm tired, I got to motivate myself because you never know who's watching you, and who you're influencing. And that's, inside the house, outside the house, social media, whatever it may be. You never know who's watching you. You never know
yep.
whose life you're changing. But I always said that God sends somebody across the river first so you can reach back and bring others with you.
Right. That's good.
That's awesome. If you don't mind, I was going to ask a quick question. So you highlighted the fact that what is it? Pi pour into effect, if I remember that correctly. And I'm curious for yourself. It sounds like you go into these events like the teachers and you're motivating them and pouring into them. How are you pouring that, or what is pouring into you to keep you going?
That's a really good question. Nobody's ever asking that, because oftentimes the motivator needs to be motivated. The one who inspires needs to be inspired. And so I have like my kids, man. You heard me talk about my daughter. I'm beyond proud of her. She wants to become an actress. She has a massive following on TikTok. There's like 100,000 followers on TikTok. I'm like, girl, you got like a major city following you.
A major I'd say.
Yeah. Like my son, he is one of the top basketball players in the country for the class of 2024. So my kids, man, they like keep me so inspired. They keep me so motivated. I love being a dad. You see the shirt I got on? It said fatherhood been essential. I absolutely love being a dad. And just knowing my kids are out here like striving after their dreams, after their goals, after their aspirations, like that really like motivates me and keeps me like going. Because if I'm striving, they go, because I always tell them, I was like, and my daughter told me today, I said something, she's like, Dad, you always told me to be better than you. So like my kids know to be better. So if I'm steady raising the bar, they steady like coming up under me. So like that really just that keeps me like grounded. My kids, they keep me inspired. They keep me waking up every day, knowing that if I can do something to make a difference in somebody else's life, then my kids can one day be proud of the man that I am. Because one day, like I'm no longer going to be here, and hopefully my legacy that I've left would keep them like trying to strive to keep that alive. So that's really what motivates me, man. I everybody have like affirmations, and I read stuff and I follow things on Instagram that, when I read and I share it, that I kind of speak over my life. But for me, it's really just like my kids.
It's a beautiful answer. I love that. Sorry, Lance.
That is true, because watching the kids grow and taking on what you're doing and surpassing you, because there's no playbook for being a father to any degree. And, and they will take on, and I always say that things are learned at home.
Right.
What kids are doing out on the streets, what kids are doing in schools, what kids are doing, with their other friends. All that's all taught at home, and that's very important that we're laying that foundation for them. And it's hard, and it's not
Oh
easy.
yeah.
Because there are days when you got to tuck around the corner and put your head down and say, uh, Lord, give me the strength to to lead them.
Right.
And when you don't have the answers or anybody else to turn to, but you got to come back around and be like, okay, this is what we need to do, and go forward. But that's why I say I always tell everybody, I tell my son, you always go to the throne before you go to the phone. Um,
Mhm.
and because that's a very important key. And then you have to have God in your life. And you used an acronym earlier. I always say to my son, it's joy, Jesus, others, yourself.
Mm, that's good.
And I said, and if you live your life by Jesus, others, and yourself, you're gonna be you will succeed in life.
Yeah, that's
With
good.
that, right, Tiff?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. I mean, 100%. So I just love, I mean, as you are, you're pouring into your children and they're pouring back into you, it sounds. And so ultimately that is your motivation that keeps you going. And I think, and I love the fact that I feel like your story and hearing about what you went through as a child has really escalated you and what you're doing and ensuring, I think, with your children and the kids of the world. I think that you are a father to all of them in a sense, right? Obviously they have their own families, but at the end of the day, you are helping to motivate them and inspire them that there is that path forward. So I love that. And I love, Lance, like you said, about making sure that at home we are fostering those environments for our kids to be successful. And yeah, it's absolutely beautiful.
And I also want to add in too, one of the things, Kyle, that I feel very passionate about what you're doing, and when I'm speaking in front of kids and so forth like that, you never know what a child is going through
Oh
at
yeah.
at home, and it only takes one person to ignite that flame inside of them. They may not every kid is getting necessarily everything they need at home. Unfortunately, I'd like to sit here and say they are, but realistically, they're not. Not every child, but it only takes one person to just spark something in an individual and then let it escalate and just take off from there. And you're going throughout all of the United States, and brother, you probably can't even imagine the lives you've touched.
Oh
You know,
yeah.
you can't even put a number on it.
Yeah, because like I speak to, and I don't know how many high schools, middle schools, colleges, nonprofit organizations, like I don't know how many like of those I've spoken at, right? But this is my thing. If I took a rock and I threw it into my pond and it had the ripple effect, right? And you threw a rock into your pond and it had a ripple effect. If all of the people whose lives I've touched and impact just threw a rock in their ponds, my ripple effect can almost cause a tsunami. I truly believe that.
That's very powerful.
Absolutely.
That's very powerful. That's extremely powerful, and God has definitely gifted you and blessed you, and has given you such an amazing talent. And I've never met somebody who has humbled as you. Um, that you are the goat, but you know that God has blessed you in so many ways to touch these lives, and we all have that gift in us. It's just
Yeah.
like you mentioned earlier. It takes until that moment in life to when it really sets in. You might have a seed uh, when it was planted, and I'm gonna circle back around to the 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 clip of Emmanuel, and when he was first spoken to, and God had spoken to him about being a bishop and so forth, but he's like, no, not you got the wrong person. That's
Right.
not me. No, that's not me. But
Right.
but God puts that peace into you, but you have to go through those trials and tribulations, and then it'll all come together. We can deny it as long as we want, but and His plan is the best plan.
Right. Right.
So that's absolutely awesome. And I know it's Saturday and you are absolutely busy. You probably got to shoot some baskets. I know your son's probably schooling you one on one, right?
I can't even beat him anymore. It was one point, and I play him, and I tell my kids all the time, like when I play, because my daughter played basketball in school too. Like when I play you, I am not going to take it easy. And I remember my grandmother when she was alive, she came outside one day on the basketball court and she was playing, and I didn't take it like light on her. And
Like
afterwards,
you took it to grandma?
yeah, I took it to my, and somebody was like, "Yo, why you played your grandmother so hard?" I said, "Because if I play her hard, then she would say something." And my grandmother was so profound with like her like just thoughts. For her to not have nothing but a middle school, like my grandmother had 18 kids. I used to tell my grandma, I'm like, "Yo, sweetie, you was busy your whole life having sex, boo. Like how you had 18 kids, like I don't know, but like you was just busy just having fun." But my grandmother, and all she had was a middle school education, right? But she was so prophetic, like with stuff that she would say. So I knew if I would like let her win just because she was my grandmother, she would find a way to like spin it because she's always done that. So like her thinking and her like life and how people always say, "Yo, Kyle, why you do so much in the community?" It was because I saw my grandmother do it. And so she didn't even have to tell me when she died that she was passing it on to me. I knew to do it because I saw her do it. And I'm gonna say this because I think it's so dope that y'all have like you a black host and then you have Tiffany, she's a white host, and especially in a society in the country that we live in now that's just so racially divided, right? My grandmother, she had a white friend. Her name was Miss Smith. And we would go pick peas with Miss Smith. I didn't say for Miss Smith, but with Miss Smith. And after we finished picking peas, my grandmother and Miss Smith would sit on her front porch, and they would just share stories and they would share laughter. And when it was time to go, Miss Smith would go in her house and she would get a Ziploc bag, and then we would put our peas in a Ziploc bag, and my grandmother and Miss Smith would hug, and they would kiss each other on the cheek. And then Miss Smith would hug me and she would give me a kiss on my forehead, and she would say, "You take care of your grandmother, you hear?" And I would say, "Yes, ma'am, Miss Smith, I'll take care of grandma." And so then after we would leave Miss Smith's house, who lived in Gray, South Carolina, we would then drive back to Pineland, South Carolina. And my grandmother would go to her black friend house, Miss Emma Jones. And we would sit under Miss Emma Jones' porch. And my grandmother would then take some of the peas that we picked at her white friend house and she would share them with her black friend. But something really ironic and iconic happened because the same jokes that my grandmother shared with her white friend, she would then share with her black friend. So my grandmother explicitly and implicitly showed me that you don't look at somebody by the color of their skin. You look at them at the content of their character. You look at them for what they have in their heart. So my grandmother, she taught me a powerful lesson about racism in America. You don't look at people just for the color of their skin, Kyle. You look at them for what they have in their heart. And my grandmother really taught me that. So it's so dope that you're black, Lance, and Tiffany, you're white, and y'all live in the North, and I'm here in the South. In a life lesson. You remember I told you, man, my grandmother was so like prophetic, man. Like my grandmother taught me so many things. So when I go into a white school or when I go into a black school, I share that same message of Miss Smith and Miss Jones to show kids. I don't care what society says. I don't care what our national politics might be saying right now. Like you don't look at somebody and you judge them just by the color of their skin, man. You look at them for what they have in their heart. You look at them for how they treat you, and you base your assessment on that person by how they treat you. I don't know what really made me say that. I don't know why I said it, but hopefully that really just spoke to somebody that's listening, because in a world that's full with so much hate, we have to be the ones that spread love.
Boom, I just dropped the fake mic. Yeah, I don't know if we got one right here, but that message was for somebody. And you couldn't even, I can't even come behind that because that is so true, and not just only color, but what people have done in their past does not define who they are in the future.
Yes.
And then that's it. And that's the only way I'd want to piggyback on that powerful message right there. I mean, I look forward. I know it's Saturday. I want to let you go. because now you just gave me something more to think about. And I know that you're extremely busy, but thank you for taking the time to share your story with our listeners and our followers. And God bless you. And, and we're going to continue to watch you. We're going to watch you grow. And I know this message is going to hit a lot of people because a lot of people were sitting back thinking, that was me.
Yeah.
I can do this. And one thing I always say is I'm a dream believer. And when people write all these notes and say I'm going to do this and do that, and they put them down on a piece of paper, and then they just turn it down on their desk, and they never go back and look at it. Man, if you got a vision and a thought and a belief, I'd rather have you try and fail than never try at all.
That's good.
If you don't, you've already failed.
That's
So
good.
yeah, and you just never know what may happen. You might succeed.
Yeah.
You just might succeed. So all those guys out there listening, Mr. Kyle Greene, the GOAT himself. And so thank you. And I have to tell you too, my grandmother was from Florence, South Carolina.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of like right in between the middle.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
tell you what, um, they were the real deal.
Yeah, man. It's something about grandmas. Something about grandmas. I wrote a piece on LinkedIn about a grandma's love. And man, like I love people because of how my grandmother loved me.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So
Beautiful.
Tiffany and I are friends on Facebook, so I know we're gonna stay in touch. Me and you friends on LinkedIn. Like LinkedIn, I gotta be real business and real professional because there you have to stand and sit and talk right and stuff. On Facebook, I let my hair down, even though I have no hair. But
yeah, I know. I'm the same way. Yeah, I'm the same. Well, I do got the beard going for. I am growing the beard out for No Shave November prostate awareness. So I'm letting it grow out. But I'll connect with you on Facebook, and we have your link to your book. And man, it's truly been a blessing. You have actually enriched my life. And I know I'm taking these nuggets and I'm going with it. And I mean, the message you dropped was absolutely wonderful. And again, folks, white, black, whatever ethnics you are, I inspire you to go and look up this movie, Emmanuel, that Steph Curry had put together. It's moving, it's touching, and it shows about God's love and grace and forgiveness. And you will walk out of there never the same. It will change you. I don't care, the hardest of hearts, that will change you. And the fact that you were there and I was there as well too. I know some of the nurses that work front line on some of those individuals. My best friend Matthew Bartlett, his wife was one of the nurses on the scene. Um, and but folks, go check it out. And thank you. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday. And like I said, Syracuse is always an option for your son. Just let him know. I got to get that in for upstate New York because we need some talent. Bayheim needs to recruit him. I'll have to phone a friend.
Right.
Yeah, we can't have him going to Georgetown and they're like looping us up.
Right.
Well, I'm just going to add really quickly that I'm so excited that Kyle, now you're a part of the SMC family. So cheers to you. Have a wonderful Saturday.
Yes, and I will connect with you and we'll go from there. But thank you very much. Oh, one last thing. I can't do boiled peanuts.
You can't do boiled peanuts?
Yeah, the boiled peanuts down there in the South.
I love them. I got some in my refrigerator right now.
I didn't know this was a thing. Okay.
Oh, it's a South thing. I can't mess with boiled peanuts.
I absolutely love it. I see somebody posted on the side of the road, man. I stop and get me some.
I had to get that in there. That's a.
Don't worry about it. I'll you come down, I'll get you some too.
Yeah, Tiff. Yes, I'm sure. But I got some great artwork. I got some nice sawgrass baskets and
Yep.
everything like that. So when I'm down there, I always make sure I stop down there and get me a nice basket off the side of the road.
Yeah.
From the ladies and stuff, and then I put on like 30 pounds. Because when you're down there, you just eat.
No.
That's all you do. But we don't want to keep you any longer. But God bless you, brother, man. Keep making a difference in the world today and changing lives. And man, I'm just going to sit back and we're going to sit back and enjoy your journey. And to all our followers, follow Kyle Greene on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. This guy is blowing it up. And I'm telling you, and all you educators out there, you want them to come to your school, get a hold of him because he will blow it up for you and keep changing lives.
Thank you so much, man. Appreciate you, Lance. Appreciate you, Tiffany. And to your SMC listeners, viewers, hey, one man, one woman can change the world. Go be that one.
Yes.
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.